This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Get ready to experience the magic of James Taylor live in concert. Don't miss out on seeing the legendary singer-songwriter along with his all-star band when they take the stage at XL Energy Center on June 17th. Enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to this incredible show at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Because I was getting my lunch together, I missed it. Can I please do it?
James Taylor. James Taylor.
Carole King and Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer Sager.
5-3 time now here on the fan.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. And now it's time to go in the paint.
The Indiana Pacers took a 2-1 series lead after beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 116-107 last night. Benedict Mathurin scored a game-high 27 points off the bench. Yeah, I don't know if I even pronounced that correctly. That's the most points for a reserve in an NBA Finals game since Jason Terry in 2011.
Who?
The Pacers bench outscored the Thunder's 49-18. Tyrese Halliburton added 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds. Common, what sticks out to you from Game 3?
That I have a better chance to beat Rosen on our bet. That would be really about it. That's the difference between a guy like Rosen, who's in the Pavic, by the way. He looks at popular opinion, records. Oh, everybody's talking about how great the Thunder is and the Pacers, they have to win. Then a guy like me takes a long, hard look at it and decides, maybe that Pacers team is a little bit better than people are give them credit for, and lo and behold, they're up 2-1. Again, they kind of match the Thunder in defensive tenacity, and I think really what it shows to me is that defense is really just like a New York state of mind. Speaking of Rosen's favorite artist, Alicia Keys, that playing defense really is just mind over matter, and I think the Pacers play defense. And as a matter of fact, you see all of these. You don't see a lot of 122, 121 games in NBA Finals, right? They're always usually fairly low scoring because teams are making a concerted effort to play defense, and they got some guys who can shoot the basketball too. So, yeah, it's a series to be. It's on, and with another game in Indiana, stealing that first one on the road obviously is can do wonders for a team. And if they could steal it, if they can go up to 3-1, well, I tell you what, that's as talented, and I wouldn't say that Thunder are completely out of it, but as talented as they are and as good defensively they are and as deep as they are, I think it goes without saying this isn't going to be a hot take. They'd be behind the 8 ball, my boy. Mm-hmm. Yes. How about you?
Can I tell you what I thought was the key from last night's game?
Please.
Rick Carlisle, coach for the Pacers, you knew he was going to try to mix things up to try to get Halliburton freed up to attack downhill in last night's game. So I thought the key was when they had the Siakam center lineup out there while Hartenstein was out there, that kept the Thunder in drop on Halliburton.
Oh.
So they ran an inverted pick and roll so Siakam could get to the paint and then kick it out to Hallie, who could attack Hartenstein, closing out to him for the floater. Then they ran transition pick and roll so the Thunder had to next Hallie, causing Wallace to get a little lost and give Hallie the open three. I just thought those were the kind of adjustments that Carlisle was just masterful with last night.
You know what that shows me? That the idea, this ugly rumor that you only know hockey. Stick to hockey, tend to be hockey community. Anytime anything bad happens to a Minnesota basketball team, you're rubbing your grubby little hockey gloves together. And it goes to show you have a very, you enjoy a wide variety of sports and you're knowledgeable on all of them. And what you saw is exactly what I read this morning as well. I mean, it's exactly what I saw on the basketball court last night. Thanks to Ben Lieber for that take.
I think the Knicks need to request permission to talk to Carlisle. That's the next one they need to go after.
That would be the guy.
They're like 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 at this point.
Correct.
Question number 2. It's time now for a look at the Lynx.
Yeah, the Lynx' undefeated start of the season is over. They lost to the Seattle Storm 94-84 last night. The Lynx allowed the Storm to shoot 56.5%. Their points, field goals made, 39, and assists, 30, were all Lynx opponents' highs. The Storm scored 50 points in the paint and scored 22 points off of Lynx turnovers. Common, your thoughts on the undefeated streak coming to an end?
Turn on my microphone would help. I don't think we need to fire Cheryl Reeves. I'm not going to call for her head.
Do you think the Knicks should ask the Lynx for permission to talk to her?
Hold on. Here's what I will give you, though, Tenneby. I guess I'm wrong. Wrong. I don't think I'm ever going to bring up effort again. And when it comes to maybe sports in general, but specifically basketball. This is Kent Youngblood. He writes for Fish. He's been a longtime writer for. Does a terrific job. Fish Rat Factory West Side. He writes the Lynx story. It says, Minnesota Lynx's perfect start reaches a sudden conclusion when they fall to Seattle. The Storm took advantage of the Lynx defense beginning with a 32-point first quarter. Cheryl Reeves said, Seattle did a terrific job of playing to their identity. We showed no understanding of what that identity was, and they scored 50 points in the paint. So their will and determination to get what they wanted was much greater than ours. Why did we not have the will and determination? How can you not match will and determination? And I'm not ripping Reeve, because she's just saying we just didn't do it. She's probably wondering the exact same thing. Why don't we have the will and determination as the other team? Here's what we call her Fee, right?
Yeah, I call her MV Fee.
MV Fee. Here's what she said. Our defense wasn't up to par, and Seattle took advantage of it. They came ready to play, and we didn't, really. I would say, sad, really. Why didn't we come to play? You knew what time the game started. You know the rules. You scouted the other team, I would think. You're 9-0. You're pretty good at what you do. Why weren't you ready to play?
My guess is body clock.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Did they play that in Seattle?
In Seattle.
Oh, that's it.
2-hour time zone. 6,000 miles away.
That was a good Seattle defense that forced us into turnovers. So 22 points off turnovers, 50 points in the paint.
Scheffler, by the way, is about to hit a chip shot from just off the green, but it's in the rough, and he can't even see the ball on television right now. He's like a foot off the fringe.
I would say his pants are ruffling in the breeze, but they're not. He's sporting is that sort of a pinkish shirt with some white slacks? It's a natty look.
Look, it's kind of like more of like a khaki color.
Maybe it's a khaki.
Kind of like a tan.
he's the best player in the world.
Oh my gosh, he's going to go back in the rough.
Yeah, it's right off the green, and it's on the first cutter rough. But is he's supposed to be the best player in the world? He's
10 of being it right now.
That's the best player in the world? He pitched it on, and then he got it on the green, but he didn't hit it quite hard enough, and it caught one of those.
It rolled right back.
Yeah, he caught one of those ledges that he couldn't get it up and over. And then it spun back down. And there's our guy, Hoagie, tend to be. Rosen likes him, of course, because he's from North Dakota. Look at Hoagie. Hoagie is about to go to 1 under. I don't think you could miss that putt. Well, okay. You could. Tommy Hoagie won't miss that. So,
were you done with your links chatter?
Let me ask you.
That I cut you off from?
But let me ask you a quick question. If Tom Hoagie were to win the U.S. Open, the 120th U.S. Open, would he consider that a bigger achievement than winning back-to-back Minnesota State Opens? Because he did. He won in 2009 and 2010. Tommy Hoagie.
Be right up there.
Question number 3.
Oh, here we go.
It's time now for a look at the ladies.
Well, it's ladies' night. And the feeling's right.
Let's stick with the WNBA because since Caitlin Clark has been out with a quad injury since May 24th, nationally televised games are down 55% in viewership per USA Today. The Fever's nationally televised games are down 53%, averaging 1,810,000 viewers with Clark compared to 847,000 without her. Common, your thoughts in viewership down without Caitlin?
Well, is every WNBA game that's televised a Caitlin Clark game, or do they mix it up?
Well, it seems like all the Fever games are.
Yeah, well, I guess she is a very popular player. I don't think there's been a more proficient scorer in WNBA history, in college basketball history, right? Wasn't she the scorer? So, logo threes. Everyone likes to call them logo threes, though they're not all from the logo, folks, but I get it. It's just a way to describe from hitting from downtown. So she is a prolific scorer, brings a lot of excitement to us. I guess that must be it. I got to admit, I've not watched the WNBA game ever in my life, but that will change this year. This Lynx Club is starting to catch on to me, except for last night. But they're starting to catch on. I might start watching a little bit of WNBA basketball.
I would like to know how the non-Caitlin Clark rated games are doing compared to the pre-Caitlin Clark WNBA. So if they're still higher than what before Caitlin came in, it would still be a good thing.
I think you're absolutely right. That's the way, Tenby, you're always thinking outside the box. You've got the second day's take on the third day.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
We'll pause. We'll return. We got a little Distat Lad and controversial Vikings news next here on The Fan.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out, but no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you. Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Thanks to friends at Unreal, you can restock your wardrobe with Unreal golf apparel this year, just like Common. Register to win up to $1,000 in Unreal golf apparel on our contest page. One lucky winner will restock their closet with amazing golf apparel thanks to Unreal. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Tennessee, look who's lurking. Brooksy Koepka. Not a one-time, not a two-time, not a three-time, not a four-time, but a five-time major winner is at 2 under, just behind Thurston Lawrence III. And also there was Siwoo Kim. He's also at 2 under, as is Sammy Burns, which, if I remember correctly, that was a Gorgie's pick in the Power Trip bets U.S. Open pool. So J.J. Spahn, -4. He's in the clubhouse with a 66. Thurston Lawrence III, -3. Siwoo Kim, Brooks Koepka, Sammy Burns, all at -2.
Is it Thurston? Because the R is before the I.
Oh, it just sounded better.
Or is it Tristan with a silent H?
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to do the bit. Tristan Howell III. Kim's in the clubhouse. He shot 68. Koepka's only threw 4, and Burns is only threw 3. So at this point, they're not having much trouble negotiating the golf course. So I'm thinking to myself, Tennessee, Caitlin Clark's been out for a significant amount of time. And since she's been out, can I say that when I see the color yellow, I no longer think of her? Because there was a time where she was so dominant, not only just in the WNBA headlines, but sports headlines, that anytime I saw the color yellow, I immediately thought of Caitlin.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Every time I saw the sun, went through a traffic light.
Yeah, thinking of
Caitlin.
Chewing on some corn on the cob. Right?
Well, I eat bananas every morning. The first thing I'm thinking of is Caitlin.
Like you were thinking of Caitlin Clark each and every day. Here's one of those clickbait stories that I just like. And maybe not clickbait because you think it's really controversial, or maybe so, but it's I love the headline of this one, Tennessee. It's from CBS Sports. They're the best of this. Best and worst case scenarios for every NFL team. The best and worst case. So we could go through every one of them, and that would take us to about 3 o'clock today, so we won't do that. But, of course, we do reside in the NFC North. And so I like to take a look at what they have to say. Chicago Bears, Tennessee. Here's the best case scenario for the Bears. Ben Johnson meshes with Caleb Williams, unlocking the quarterback's gunslinging gifts while keeping him in check behind a much-improved front. and Chicago sneaks into the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. That would be.
Sure.
I don't know if that's best case, but it's very good. A worst case, no amount of veteran blockers and weapons can keep Williams on schedule against a tough schedule. The former number 1 pick proves a dangerous caretaker of both ball and his body as the Bears finish last again. That would be, if you're a Bears fan, because you have to think, yeah, he showed flashes. I know that he hung on the ball too much and made some bad turnovers and got sacked a few too many times. We got Ben Johnson now, the great offensive mind from Detroit. We got all these offensive linemen now, and we got weapons. It's fight on, Chicago. No, what is it? Buckle down, Chicago Bears. What do they say about the Bears? They got some saying.
Chicago's a tough guy.
Yeah, well, that'll work. And that would be the worst case scenario. Let's move on.
Well, I was just going to add to that. It is a pretty darn big year for the Bears, even though it's just year 1 of Ben Johnson and just year 2 of Caleb Williams. Because of everything you just mentioned with Caleb, right? They fortified the offensive line, which is they added even more from a skill position standpoint. They gave him an offensive-minded head coach who was considered one of the best offensive coordinators in football. Now you get to the point where Caleb doesn't have any excuses anymore. And he's not a rookie anymore.
That's for sure.
It's year 2. You don't want to give up on a guy in year 2, especially number 1 overall pick. But now is when you see whether, hey, this guy could be a potential superstar or if this guy's just going to be in Trevor Lawrence territory.
Detroit Lions, the Motor City Kitties, as I like to call them. Best case scenario, the legend of Dan Campbell. The legend of Dan Campbell expands as the coach takes a firmer grip on the offense, allowing Jared Goff to feed his plethora of playmakers to the point Detroit, so used to taking big blows, finally reaches the big game. Worst case, Goff can't shake the sour end of 2024 behind a shuffled front and without coordinator Ben Johnson. Campbell's aura isn't enough to outlast a tough schedule in the NFC North. They dip to wild card territory. I think they could fall beyond that. And I think worst case scenarios are more likely. I think worst case scenario is more likely than best case. Don't you? If you're going to pick one of those.
I was going to say, worst case scenario is just a wild card team?
Right. But to me, there's a better chance of the worst case than the best case. And maybe that's, and I always look, I've said this so many times on these airwaves, tend to be aware, just because something's happened forever doesn't mean it's always going to happen. But with the Lions, it just seems that way. Though, the last 3 years have been pretty good. But Green Bay Packers tend to be. Best case scenario. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The influx of young pass catchers led by Matthew Golden emboldens Jordan Love, while coach Matty LaFleur keeps the Josh Jacobs ground game rolling, and Green Bay reaches its first big game in 15 years. That would be best case scenario, right? Worst, Love can't contain his inner Brett Favre, forfeiting the rock to frustrate LaFleur, and the youthful receiving corps remains too mercurial to go deep in January as the Packers barely missed the playoffs in the tough North. And again, making the playoffs, though, I don't think it's like you say is a worst case scenario. Worst case is where you bottom out to 3-14, right? But
worst case scenario is Jordan Love tears his Achilles.
Right, exactly right.
And you go 3-14, and you don't know if Jordan Love's going to be healthy for the following season.
Those are the worst case. Here's your.
By the way, on the Packers, can we stop with the acting like they have this potentially great receiving core? We've been on this for 3 years in a row now. They have quality wide receivers. They don't have great wide receivers. They're all just fine.
Why do they want to pretend?
None of them are Justin Jefferson, so stop it.
Then why are they doing that? Who is doing that?
And Matthew Golden, I'm curious on him. He was a rookie, drafted in the first round. The film and analytics community are very different on him. There's a wide range of opinions on Golden. I think probably the film community, the film guys like him a little bit more because he can run. He's very fast. But the analytics are not great for him. So I'm curious to see what pans out in that regard.
Best and worst case scenario for the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. We'll have that for you on the other side of the break. We'll pause. We'll return. The legendary one Mark Rosen joins us just before 2 o'clock right here on The Fan.
great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled smart engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh, but then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Fan.
Loggins and Messina. Simon and Garfunkel. Sonny and Cher. Sacco and Vanzetti. One night, one stage, one extraordinary entertainment. 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 Entertainment.
So, I was watching JT, Justin Thomas, as we like to call him. So he's in the green side rough. He literally it was such a bad lie. He bladed it across the green. I mean, it was just skipping across the green. It looked like a shot that he just had an experience that is not unlike that of Tennessee. JT just had an experience that is not unlike that of Tennessee. He bladed it across the green. I thought I'd get a rim shot for that. Were you even listening to that cheap shot I just took?
Well, looks like all of a sudden there's a head coach Kevin O'Connell press conference. It looks like the media is introducing something to him. He might have just won a reward or something.
Yeah, let's go to it. Let's go.
Oregon, two longtime NFL executives who kind of exemplified professionalism and understanding the job that the media has to do over the course of a season, and it's selected annually amongst the vote of all 32 media markets for the person who sort of best exemplifies that professionalism and the trust in us and the cooperation, allowing our jobs to go smoothly. And I think it's pretty cool that not only us voted for this, but everybody around the league. And so I think we all know that we have a pretty decent thing going here. And I hate this because I have to say nice things whenever I do these things, but we do have a pretty nice thing going here. And it's cool that the rest of the league understands that as well. And the last thing I want to say is that the Vikings PR department was a finalist for the Roselle Award, which goes to the top PR department in the league. It was won by Washington this year. They're great. They did a great job, but I think it's just probably a matter of time before the Vikings pick that up as well. So that's all the nice things we have for today, Dan and I. So we will present this to Kevin. These are, don't break them or put your fingerprints on them, but we'll hold that one to you. And you get to hold that one too. There we go. And now you can applaud. Look at that. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'll try not to. You guys know I'm good to knock something over every now and again, as long as the microphones are nailed down. In regards to, obviously, the Horrigan Award for me was a really... to me, it's a special award because I know going on 3.5 years ago, I can remember being in this very indoor at my opening press conference and making a point to respect not only the jobs you all have to do here locally, which can be a very difficult, kind of delicate job at times, and I just want you guys to know here locally and the folks that I see a lot that I respect the relationships we've been able to build. And ultimately, my respect for the job that you guys have to do means a lot to me. And I know, like you guys said, none of this would be something that would seem like it does for all of us here without our comm staff. And Jeff and his whole department have made my job, which can be difficult at times in a world where we are responsible for everything that goes on the grass with our team, with our players, our coaches. They put us in positions to just be very proud of what we've done around here, and then ultimately rely on you guys to tell the story and make that connection with our fans, so it's not lost on me. And I just wanted to say, getting an award is great because it validates a lot of those things, but as we know, we're kind of a process over results kind of organization around here. So as nice as it is to win this award, it's more about the day-to-day with you folks that we get to have. And speaking of which, obviously want to transition now. Haven't talked to you guys in a few days, and I know you've heard from some of our coordinators, some of our players. But before we do start today, and I open it up for questions, just a couple things. I'd like to just take a moment. This is my first time I could take a moment to honor Jim Marshall, Vikings legend, somebody that has meant so much to this organization, the greatest captain maybe in the history of the NFL, 14-time captain. We have our captain's legacy wall for a reason, but in reflecting about Jim Marshall, I go back to my year that I was lucky enough to have with Coach Bud Grant here, and the weekly lunches. There probably wasn't a weekly Thursday where Coach and I got together that he didn't mention Jim Marshall, the player, the person, the leader, how much of an impact that Jim Marshall had on Coach Grant's life and how unique that relationship was. And he taught me to never, ever take for granted the relationships with your players, because he's had a lifelong one just like that. Well, he's had with many players, but his relationship with Jim Marshall meant the world to him, as Jim Marshall's legacy, as a great player, all-time worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, clearly in our opinion as an organization, but means so much to Vikings fans. And just wanted to start out and say that. Also, just in regards to the off-season program, I do appreciate your guys coming out here to cover us, and it has not felt like an extraordinary rep counting situation, so I want to commend you on that. But in regards to our players, I just told those guys, I don't know what in this day and age the off-season program means around the league, what it means to 31 other teams, but I know we got better. I know we brought in a lot of new players, new faces, either via free agency, the draft. The team is coming together in a really great way. The participation of our team and guys showing up and being here totally present, getting something done, I thought was a really big deal for our team and has set us up to have a really good training camp, which we're very excited about. And then lastly, I know you guys probably saw Brian O'Neill, was excused. His absence was excused today for personal reasons, so didn't want anybody to be alarmed about that. So with that, I'll open it up to you guys.
Was there any evaluation done? It's mostly teaching, installing reps. Is there any evaluation done these 3 days?
Yeah, I think part of the learning and teaching phase is, as coaches, we're trying to figure out how to communicate, how individual players learn. But once you've kind of figured that out, if you're having a lot of repeat mistakes, and I think I mentioned that one of the things you can really gauge is guys that can learn, grow, move on, and that becomes part of kind of like their inventory to their role in our offense, defense, or special team systems. If they're making repeat mistakes, it now becomes a question to me of, it's not necessarily can I trust them, but way more importantly than that, their teammates, the other 10 guys they're in the huddle with. So they do get exposure to answering that question on a daily basis. Can I be trusted? Can I be a player that knows what to do? And then, we work on the fundamentals and techniques of how to do that. And then eventually they're going to have to compete, every single rep against our own team, against another team for a couple days in the 3 preseason games to figure out what I think is going to be a very difficult process of getting this roster from 90, really 91, down to 53.
Whether it's Jefferson or defenders talking about how JJ was just throwing the football in this mini camp, just what have you seen in terms of his growth as just a pure thrower from the time that he got here to right now?
Yeah, I think he's clearly since we evaluated him and getting him here, arm strength has always been there. Accuracy on a lot of the throws that we ask of quarterbacks in this offense have been there. There's been some growth from a standpoint of, you can call it throw variation, arm talent. I mean, everybody's got a name for everything from a standpoint of how do I get this ball completed where maybe there's not a direct path, but I've got to throw it up and over somebody. And I might only have 8 to 10 yards of space in the end zone in a low red period to get that done. There's been what I want to compliment him on is he's making the attempts. He's learning what it feels like to attempt those throws, so now he can figure out exactly how to apply those reps moving forward to when it's real football and it matters, which is why I think it's always unique when we start really evaluating and grading each individual rep this time of year, because really that goes against totally against how I like these guys to attack these 8-9 weeks of work to try to set themselves up to be the best players when those 17 plus games come about. So I think I feel really good about where he's at fundamentally, but it's still that 10,000 reps, that 10,000 hours of we're not that far into that process, and I challenge him every day to embrace it. Can't be too hard on himself, but at the same time, what is your standard to get not where you are right now, but where you want to get to? And he's done a good job of attacking that every day.
You talked about the value of Justin being here just as a captain, but in terms of his relationship with JJ and the way he talks a lot about kind of trying to gas quarterbacks up with confidence and trust in themselves, trust in him. What does that do for a young quarterback to have a receiver of his stature that's also as supportive as he's been? Yeah, and
it's something that I talked to Justin about, because he's not as much as when I first got here. He had been such an accomplished player already in his career, but he still felt like a young player when I first got here. And the way our relationship has grown, the things that him and I talk about, we're very close, but at the same time, I've talked to him about, hey, you're going to play a big role in the development process. It's an organizational thing, and Justin Jefferson is a huge part of our organization, especially on the offensive side. So, we've got Josh McCown and Jordan Traylor and Wes and myself coaching. It's not like we need another quarterback coach, but what we need is a guy in that huddle who's played football at a world-class level to be able to give feedback, to be able to say, his input on a lot of reps that Justin's had in this system of what it's going to feel like and what his expectations are on certain plays. And the way he's done that has been so productive and such healthy dialogue. I think JJ has really benefited from it. It's been TJ, it's been Ryan Kelly at the center spot, it's Brian O'Neill, CJ Ham. We've got unbelievable leadership as well as really good players around JJ. So that's why I challenge him every day to just embrace all of it, because there'll be plenty of time for him to be overly critical of himself or any one particular play. Now is not that. This is still a time where we're trying to build an incredible support system around him, and then challenge him and test him and make things hard on him and see the growth that can come from that, because that's, where true growth happens. And he's had a really good spring. So it's been good. It's been good to see the whole kind of thing and people take on maybe some new roles and responsibilities on and off the field.
Kevin, I know you about this was a time for him to maybe take some risks and to do some things, but balance it. What did you learn from him in this period where he could kind of let it loose maybe a little bit before you pull back?
Yeah, I think I've seen it quite a bit before with, different quarterbacks at different points in their kind of quarterback journey. You go through the phase of trying to do exactly how you think on paper it's supposed to be done. And then these are living, moving, very world-class talented athletes out on the field where it doesn't always translate to what the paper looked like or the picture, or even the clip that we installed the play off of. So you get out of this, kind of structure that you still have to have, but then there's a feel of how far can I test that? But then you learn pretty quickly, you better not, you better be doing it with the right principles. You can't predetermine, hey, I'm going to do this and this is going to happen. You do that and you don't play fast with fast eyes and feet and eyes tied together. Some bad things can happen in a hurry, and I think he's kind of learned both sides of it, which has been really positive. And then he finished up with some, really, really solid, like, you guys weren't here every day, but, growth reps where I can go back and think of a play, conversation him and I had, conversation he maybe had with Jets or TJ, and then you saw the immediate response. And that's all what you're looking for at this point in time is those moments, those critical moments, and then how do we maximize them so that they can become, kind of chapters in the book of that development instead of just a speed bump of, man, I wish I would have done that better. Why, what, when, how, and how do we do it better next time? It's been really cool.
Kevin, I know you've talked a lot about how you and Flores kind of help sharpen each other from a schematic standpoint. Can you do some of that in practice, even like calling plays against each other?
Today he must have been pretty close to the end of the offseason program, because today he ran some stuff I didn't even know that was in there. Ryan Kelly turned to me and asked me how to target a run. I said, your guess is as good as mine. I got no idea what they're doing over there. And it was kind of his first exposure to, and they were just trying something out, using a specific grouping that we have not seen before. And that's flow. And I challenge him all the time to do those things. And then, we're doing the same thing on the offensive side, trying to take something that now some of our players are 2-3 years in on this play. So can we find nuances to it to either give the players more ownership on either side of the ball? That's something that I've really felt both sides really stressing this year is, we know the systems, we kind of know the baseline of it, but here's the next layer of it where we want you guys to have that player ownership of it and maybe even the control of it. Which has been really fun. But it's happening, and it'll happen in training camp. I'm sure there'll be, one day where I'm mad at him or he's mad at me, and then we have a big old hug after practice and move on. But that's what, our team is like that. Our offense and defense are like that. So Flo and I, we wouldn't be our authentic selves unless we were competing and trying to have the best of our team come out for the betterment of our team.
And I think 2 days ago and not yesterday and today. So where does that speak to where he's at with him?
I think, part of it was, I've told you guys, I think at the beginning of the offseason program, whether it was, probably talked a little bit about him at the draft or at the combine draft, whether it was one or the other, and then the start of the offseason program, he's done, every single day, talk about a guy with laser focus on what's right in front of him, and that can be very difficult when you're a player coming back from an injury, and a lot of it is outside of his control. But I can tell you, whatever is in Christian Darasol's control, and maybe more so than most going through an injury like that, he has been phenomenal. It was just a matter of he's progressed to a point that if you put some trainers out in front of him, we're going to have to go find those trainers after he throws them over the fence, because he's that strong. So we had to get him back around real football players because of where he's at. That doesn't mean his timeline has necessarily changed or what we thought. All I've told Christian is, let's worry about that when it's time to worry about that. All you can control is the here, the now, the present, and just continue to set weekly goals that he is crushing in a really positive way. So I'm super proud of him. I think his teammates have really seen it, and that goes a long way, with what CD is for our organization.
What'd you make just of like your first exposure with Sam Howell, Max Brosmer in the quarterback room?
No, I thought there was a lot of, really fun dialogue. I probably was in there a little more than I had been in the past, with JJ and just some new players in there. But I think all of those guys, I think Sam has really demonstrated kind of some unique abilities to, change trajectories of the ball, different speeds, anticipate, like a guy that's played in the NFL before. And when he previously played, they were a lot of drop back pass, a lot of throwing the ball all over the yard, and he was responsible for, everything. And so I think he's really enjoyed learning kind of the behind the curtain of the offense a little bit, and then how he can apply it. As I told Sam Darnold a year ago, your experience matters. We just got to figure out how to apply it in a pretty positive way in this offense, and then watch the growth happen. And I told Sam Howell the same thing, and he's kind of like JJ. He's made some throws where you're like, man, probably shouldn't have made that throw, but I now know on this play I got to be careful of this, and it's all growth. I think Max has done Max is as smart as any young player that, I've been around from a standpoint of really hadn't been exposed to a lot of reps this spring, but, his ownership of the information, kind of right on par. Brett's got such value in so many different ways in the quarterback room, but Brett's an extension in many ways of a coach that can still throw it a lot better than I can, that's for sure. So I'm excited about our room. All those guys are at different places, but at the same time, different places in their development, but at the same time pushing each other rep to rep, and that's ultimately what you want in that room.
Coach, how much do you appreciate a guy like Eric Wilson who seems to be going 100 miles an hour all the time? And I was just talking with him, and he embraces special teams just as much when he started his career, and also can make an impact on defense. Yeah, and you look at him last year, played a ton on defense in Green Bay, and still had his role on the special teams group. And just hearing Matt Daniels talk about his presence in that room, it rivals some other guys we have on our team that have maybe made their initial impact on special teams, but now are thriving in other positions. He hasn't changed one bit. He still values that phase, and he's here for a lot of reasons, on and off the field. Made a tremendous impact. I was not here previously with him, but made a tremendous impact on so many folks in this organization. And I know there was a lot of people that were celebrating getting him back here, and that's for football reasons. That's for the locker room, former teammates, all those things. So couldn't be happier with Edub for sure.
How do you look at the receiver battle kind of behind your top three and how that's going to play out?
The top three, having those guys, this is the first time really since I've been here, it didn't sound very good, but since I've been here, that I think we probably had the most reps of what that group is actually going to look like. Because Speedy had a phenomenal spring, Jordan Addison phenomenal, and then Jets, maybe in the best shape right now than I've seen him, not only this time of year, but he's absolutely had a phenomenal offseason, so purposeful with everything he's done. But you're right that, when you start talking about the depth behind there, I think we forget sometimes, guys like Lucky and Jay Sean and Thayer, those guys have been getting coached by Keenan McCardell in a room with those other guys, showing them the way, leading the way. These guys they're becoming really good football players. And then you add in the additions, via the draft, free agency with a couple of Ty and Tim and some of our other guys. And then don't forget about Rondell. He's getting healthier every single day, catching punts, running routes on the side field. I can't wait to get him going as well. So it's going to be a very, very competitive situation, and that's going to be the kind of what we're talking about more than likely. This group right here throughout all camp is when we do start counting the reps and we do start thinking about what that looks like. It's going to be a daily, multiple position kind of thing where I think our team is really going to benefit from the competition.
Time for two more questions, guys.
Okay, that's all we have time for, actually. Thank you very much. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the soon-to-be Big Game World Champion Minnesota Vikings, wins the Corrigan Award, most cooperative football figure, whether it's front office or coach. Most accommodating, I guess. I guess the people that voted don't listen to the Monday pressers very often. Scheduled for 115, 118, 122, 128, 145. We're juggling spots, doing breaks sooner or later. Tenneby's always sweating it out over there. I don't know what to do. Got me tap dancing, and I ain't no Fred Astaire. Have me tap dancing for an extra 12 minutes, and then we say, well, let's go to break. Then lo and behold, what happens, Tenneby? About a minute into that break, they start the news conference. I don't know if he had gotten my vote. I wasn't asked. But congratulations to Kevin O'Connell for winning the Corrigan Award. We'll break. We'll come back. The legendary Mark Rosen joins us next here on The Fan.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
Saks Off Fifth. Up to 70% off every day. Spring is in full swing here at Saks Off Fifth, with so many exciting trends to try. From matching sets and floral dresses to wide-leg jeans and chic accessories, find all of the season's must-have styles. Plus, shop new designer arrivals weekly. Find Gucci, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOffFifth.com or a Saks Off Fifth store near you for up to 70% off every day.